There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension of the Twilight Zone podcast. I am your host, Nick, as always. We're here to talk the 50th episode of the Twilight Zone, Rod Serling's famous TV series that he created that's very influential to everyone except my co-host. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're I know I try. We're on audio feeds like Anchor and SoundCloud and I think Audio Boom and everyththing that I mentioned. We're actually not on. We're actually on like iTunes and Google and Amazon Music. But if you like to listen to our sultry voices or our voices that talk about anal beads and cups of Uranus and whatever Jacob likes to talk about on each episode and whatever Triv has sticking out of her cup of whatever sitting next to her.
Whoa.
That's where you can listen to us at. You don't have to see us. You can listen to us. Man, I wish I could do that voice.
What voice?
You have a Triv for putting that picture up. Now I want to do a great voice of Gremlins.
Which one?
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no gremlins here.
Oh yeah, if you're listening on audio feeds, you have no idea what we're talking about. Right?
If you're watching, you probably have no idea what we're talking about.
I mean, look, there's no gremlin over here. Do you see one? Because I don't see one. Do you? Huh?
No, he's crazy.
See an arrow.
Fucking psycho.
Oops.
I see an
I
arrow
forgot
pointing
about
at my face.
Where? I don't see an arrow.
Anyways, we're back. This is gonna be like 6-hour podcast of me just laughing at that picture.
We're back. And then he just stops.
We're back. A dinosaur story.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's real bad.
That'll bring back memories.
Oh man.
Let's talk about Ferngully, the last rainforest, or the
Avatar?
precursor to Avatar. Yeah.
Dude,
Or,
what about Willy Wonka? They
Which
have no way, or they don't know where they're going.
Oh, fucking creepy ass out of nowhere scene there. That
Yep. The chicken
when
with
you
his head
see-
cut off.
When you see what's his face go, his eyes just keep going wider and wider. I'm gonna do the whole episode like this. Eyes just get wider and wider till they explode in my head. So anyways, with that said, I am of course currently with my normal co-host. Usually they're normal. Tonight we might be a little loopy because it is late.
we're never normal.
Right.
Come on now.
We're less normal tonight now that we got
Yay.
Triv and her stripe because she loves stripe. She wants to make love to the stripe.
Do
You
I?
know, that time. I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know what you do in your spare time, Triv. Son of a bitch. No, anyways, I am here with my current co-host who put up my nonsense all the time when I host these podcasts. But of course, Triv from Trivial Theater and Jacob from the Almost Awesome podcast. I don't think he has a channel anymore. I think he just does videos with me. I think he, 'cause I think I see Jacob more than I see like my house, my apartment, my house where I live. I'm like, hey Jacob, didn't I just see you like 10 minutes ago? No, he's from
I
Jacob
do a
Andrews
video
Reviews.
every now and then. But yeah, there's a lot of you on my channel now.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm taking
mean,
over
you're-
the world.
You're both sexy bitches, so
So does that make Jacob the brain and I'll be Pinky?
Yes.
Narf. Trying to take over the world.
What does that make me?
You could be Mindy.
The little baby rabbit. Is Mindy the girl who goes, I'm gonna love you and squeeze you and hold you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or wait,
That's you.
is that the one that like keeps escaping and Buttons has to go after her?
Yes.
I don't-
Hello, lady. I love you. Bye bye.
I love me some Animaniacs.
No way. Really? Come on. That's crazy.
I do. I love it.
Nah.
I have a t-shirt.
I got a
So
Genesis game.
anyways, yeah, I didn't know there was a Genesis game, but yeah, awesome.
You can always
Love
tell
it.
the episodes that we were just kind of like on because we like talk about all this other stuff after we've started recording.
Dude, I
We
actually
don't
really
even
enjoyed
watch
this
the episode.
episode.
I didn't say I didn't. I'm just saying that the episodes are just kind of like not a ton to talk about here, but Maybe I'm
there's
the
deep
minority.
philosophical meanings in this one.
Ooh,
And there's some great
deep.
sexicon phrases.
Then I did pick up on one, that's for sure. I'm curious to see which other ones there are, but let's go deep.
Oh yeah.
Real deep.
I mean, I'm only telling the truth here, people. I mean, what do you expect out of me? Gosh.
You liar.
With that said, I once bought a Playboy. Oh wait, I wasn't supposed to say that.
So the whole truth.
So, anyways,
The whole
with
truth,
that
that's the
said,
truth.
how you guys doing tonight? I got Triv and Jacob here. How you guys doing? How's life? How's everything
Real
going in
good.
your life? Are the anal beads of your heart intact?
Mine aren't.
I'm
Yours
doing
not.
fine as a frog's hair split thrice.
All
Yeah, you gotta think
right.
about that one, don't you?
I'm doing as good as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
I'm as cool
And I'm
as
just
the other
here for
side
the
of the
whole
pillow.
shebang.
I'm doing
Oh,
as well as a polecat in a room full of rockers.
I was like, you're doing bad.
I'm so
And
screwed up I could screw up a wet dream.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what?
That's it.
I just work here. Anyways, so seriously, how you
That
guys
being
doing
said,
tonight?
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
That's right. When we get into an argument next week about the Invaders, one of us will die of a heart attack. It'll be
Not
fine.
even supposed to be here.
No, anyways, so we're on I think we're on our like 52nd episode or something like that, 51st episode, but we are talking episode 50 of the Twilight Zone.
Aren't we only
This
one
episode-
episode ahead of the number of the episodes?
I think we're like actually 6 episodes behind because I've been like six times now or something like that. I don't know. It's a Twilight Zone of conundrum of confusion. I'm telling you. Like
Oh,
we're like
cool.
6 episodes behind, but we're actually like on our 50th talking about the 50th episode, but we talked like, one ahead. I don't know. Jacob,
so
you're confusing
confused.
me, even though I'm
The
confusing
Twilight
myself.
Zone of You've confused me. It
what my
doesn't
life
take
is.
much.
We're
I've got I got nothing.
this is what I do to get the episode back on track.
Anyway, so the whole truth.
He confuses me to where I have to like be quiet for a few minutes to gather my thoughts. Get that fucker to shut up just for a few minutes. I can get this show rolling.
I know, right? No, in all honesty, 50th episode, pretty crazy. We're like almost 1/3 of the way through the Twilight Zone. We only have like 3 more years until we finish this whole entire series. So,
But then we've got the 80 series, the 90 series, the 2010 series,
The movie.
so you
the
have
audio
content
plays.
for years.
and then we could become the Outer Limits
Years.
podcast.
We could do what was it? Playhouse 50 or Playhouse 60? Playhouse 90.
Mhm.
Oh,
You guys make me sad. I thought we were after the Twilight Zone 60s. I thought we were gonna go into Picasso.
Oh,
well,
that's
let's
a
see have
side
organized.
show.
Yeah, is that
a side
organized
show.
episodes?
That's our
or-
Patreon. Is
Yeah,
that our
Yeah,
Patreon?
yeah, absolutely.
When we finally
we're
get
gonna,
a Patreon.
We're gonna do Picasso's ourselves.
You guys go ahead. I don't really have the equipment to do
You can
Picassos.
do
there is
Picasso.
strap
I can do Ticassos. Yeah, that's a little.
Picasso's.
Yeah.
There you go.
We
Picasso's,
go-
Picasso's.
They'll be the most grandest boob paintings in the land.
You know why
Yes.
we're so like loopy tonight? Because we're telling the whole truth, people, which is season 2, episode
Ooh, that was good.
14, the whole truth.
Yay!
No, it's directed by James Sheldon, written by Rod Serling, stock music, of course. 173-36-64 production code, air date January 20th, 1961. Stars the famous Jack Carson, Lauren Smith, George Chandler, and Jack Ging. Okay. So the whole truth is the episode before me and Jacob officially no longer become friends, because we've had shouting matches and we've gone into okay. This is an episode. This is the 3rd episode that was shot on videotape, and it's an interesting episode. It has a very interesting conclusion to it. This might be the most non-feeling videotape episode I've seen. It was really it was actually it felt like a much closer to film than it did videotape to me personally.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Oh.
So it was interesting to watch. It wasn't distracting, which was nice. Well, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean, we still have 3 more episodes, or is this the 4th episode?
This is the 3rd because it was the lateness of the hour, and then
the
Shit,
third
the-
episode they filmed. I think it's the third one we see. There's the lateness of the hour and the Christmas one.
Yeah,
Night of the Meat.
Night of the Meat. Yeah,
Yeah, because we got 22 and
Static.
static and something else.
So this is the third aired and third filmed.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah, it feels like they actually got some kind of a handle until they realize they're not saving any money on these episodes. So,
Yeah.
but with that said, with the videotape stuff, and we'll talk about it as we move along. Is this an episode that you guys remember at all? You remember anything about this episode? It started coming back to me a little bit, but I don't know. I was going to this episode going, I guess it's about a used car salesman. I guess this is the basis to Robert Zemeckis' movie Used Cars. I mean, I didn't know anything about this episode. So I watched it, then I remembered it. But what do you guys think?
Jim Carrey's Liar Liar.
Yeah.
Really, truly.
Yeah,
I
right.
remember this one. Like, I remember, I didn't remember like how it ended because that kind of came out of really left field. But I do
Yeah, it was,
remember.
right?
Oh, 100%. It actually, like, the ending was really cheeky, but the concept of it, like the way it looked, was the thing that I really remembered about it. Like, I remember, like, when we were talking about the videotape episode or the tape episodes, I remember thinking there was one that I really liked that was just, it looked friggin' atrocious, and this was that one.
That episode was The Invaders.
Shush,
Nah.
shush you. But yeah, I remembered the episode being set on a car lot, being funny and shit. So yeah, that's all I really remembered about it. But yeah, I remembered it somewhat.
I don't remember shit about this episode. I didn't remember like at all. Even while watching it, I was like, I remember nothing about this. And the ending was that okay. That happened.
But let me ask you guys that question. Not talking about the ending because it is kind of like I didn't know where they were going with, because like I said, it was an episode I don't remember very well. Do you think, just to kind of start out, do you think that ending kind of makes a disservice for this episode, or do you think it fits into like this episode's kind of premise, like without talking about what it is?
For the kind of thing that it is, I mean, for the time,
Yeah,
like
for the time.
everything about this episode was very cheeky. That's kind of how it rolled. Jack Carson played it like a super over the top guy. He'd tell this story to this guy, but then the exact opposite to these other guys. He played it like, very not slapsticky, but just very like over the top comedian guy. And I think that the ending, for as bombastic as it was, I do think it matched the tone for the rest of the episode.
It's definitely a 60s episode. You can definitely tell because just the way the prices and how this guy talks and stuff like that.
You know what this was? This was the Batman 66 episode of the Twilight Zone.
Well, it had like the musical cue, not sound effects, but like the musical cues. Like they weren't songs, just kind of like wah 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 wah. It reminded me like Dick Van Dyke or something.
Yeah, it had like a rat race. It was like a rat race theme or something like that. It was like one of those it just moves quickly. Yeah, I don't know. It's like that music you would hear in like somebody at a store or something like that selling a monkey's paw or some shit. It was just, this whole episode's weird.
Yes, it is, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and stall as long as I can so Jacob doesn't have to read the opening narration for it. But no, but yeah, it's an episode that takes place on one location, deals with like two people, and doesn't feel like it moves pretty quickly. It doesn't feel like it's overstays its welcome, and I think for the most part has an interesting premise to it, where it basically opens up before we get to the Rod Serling narration, where this guy is named like Henry. I hate this guy's name,
Honeycutt.
by the way. Harvey
Honeycutt.
Honeycutt. Like,
Honeycutt.
can they come up with something fucking better than Honeycutt? I feel like I feel
I've
like I'm
known
saying
people with that last
Honeycutt or something like that. What's that?
I've known more than one person with that last name.
Really?
With Honeycutt?
Yeah, Honeycutt. Yeah,
Oh
I've
man.
met people with that name
Okay,
before.
people that Jacob know. I'm sorry.
I don't know
I
him
feel
now,
bad
but
for you.
I've heard that name before. Yeah,
Oh,
it's not like I've known like 20 people with that name, but I'm pretty sure I've known at least a good two. I've known one person that I can think of had it, and I know I've heard of at least another person. So I guess I've known one. I've known of at least two.
are you sure you haven't just known like a porn star named Honey Cunt?
Oh well, that's a totally different story. Definitely. That's one of my many aliases.
And I'm sure you wear it well.
Right.
I mean,
right.
not my alias. Mine would be Dick Mahogany. My wife, she would be
Is my wife. She
Honeycutt
local.
and Dick Mahogany at it again.
But this guy that works this lot, he owns a lot, I guess. He's a used car salesman. He's a shyster. He basically sell a ketchup popsicle with to a woman in white gloves type of scenario. He's that good at what he does because he saw the episode opens up. He's just selling this old guy this like really bad jalopy, and as soon as it drives away, he goes, the exhaust goes and explodes or whatever. I started laughing.
And then he says something. At first, I thought it was too much flour, but it turned out it was too much power,
So he's from the north. He's from Canada.
Apparently,
he's from
or
North Dakota.
Too much flour,
Yeah, maybe he's a cheesehead.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
he's got the hot dish underneath the hood, and it got too much for him. It had too much of the spices.
You got her started.
But okay, so this guy, he sells shitty cars. He sells lemons to people. And I'm surprised, maybe because there's no internets that people can't get like clap back at him, but he's like convincing this younger couple to buy this car or buy this like they're looking at this older car like a 1937 or something like that, and then like the bumper keeps falling off, and he finally like puts it together with like banding or whatever. But he's like what,
yeah
something like that. I just like
I like how he's trying to sell it to him, and he's like, you don't want them new cars, you want old cars. They're reliable. When people knew how to make cars, this guy drives up an old car. He's like, I'm not buying that old piece of shit. They didn't even know how to build cars till 5 years ago.
Oh, there was one other phrase that he says a little later, but I still find it hilarious. And being that you were talking lemons, after things get rolling, he says, I got more lemons per foot than a fruit grower in Salinas.
I think it was before that. Rum Dum.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
I got a couple others, but I'll
sell a hatch
in
in a rubber room.
Sell a what?
Sell him a hatch in a rubber room.
Sell him a hatch. All right. Yeah. Sell him a hatch.
There's
in a rubber
another
room.
one.
It's a Rum Dum.
You're a sharpshooting Sharpie.
He also calls people cement-headed clods, like the people that sell cars. He has rigidly moral churchgoers. It's not a new one per se, but he talks turkey, and then he says that's the old rhubarb.
Never, you never rub another man's rhubarb.
And then
what was the one you said, Nick? You said something about some Sharpies or something.
Sharpshooting Sharpie.
I like that one. Sharpie. I feel like I could work that in somewhere. Next time I have to go through all these and get it.
He must be a story. He must be a cookie or a politician.
Yeah. And then he calls the guy that sells him the car a gleep, which is someone who doesn't do things the easy way.
We've got
I think we did that one
here.
already.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But actually, this time I have a definition for it.
We had one last time. It's just something else. I don't think it was that. I think we had a hard time figuring it out last time.
Possibly, yeah.
But yeah, he's selling this young couple in this car. Then a old man in I think as I said, 34 Model A, I think is what the car is. I think it was Ford, right? Ford's Model A, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pulls up in this car. And that's when Rod Serling apparently works on the lot as a salesman, because he kind of shows up out of just on the steps of the salesman's office. So
he certainly has the gift of the gab in this one.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, it says this as the banner already is proclaimed. I went into Irish again. I don't know why. Sorry, I became a fucking leprechaun. Let's just do it. Let's do it straight. This
happened to Bess.
This, as the banner already has proclaimed, is Mr. Harvey Honeycutt, an expert on commerce and con jobs, a brash, bright, and larceny-loaded wheeler and dealer who, when the good Lord passed out conscience, must have gone out for a beer and missed out. And these are the couple of other characters in our story, a little old man and a Model A car. But not just any old man, and not just any old Model A. There's something very special about the both of them. As a matter of fact, in just a few moments, they'll give Harvey Honeycutt something he's never experienced before. through the good offices of a little magic, they will unload on Mr. Honeycutt the absolute necessity to tell the truth. Exactly where they come from is conjecture, but as to where they're heading for, this we know, because all of them, and you, are on the threshold of the Twilight Zone.
I
Jesus,
love that
that's
open
long.
so much.
I feel like
I like
I
that.
feel like we're never in the threshold. We're just kind of thrusted into the Twilight Zone.
Well,
That's
how
what
I
she
roll.
said.
Yeah,
Threshold.
just thrust it in.
Yeah, thrust it in like a good old Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the fact that it could be like a wireless anal beads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Checkmate. Is that what the music is? It's just wireless anal beads vibrating.
Possibly. Well, back in the 60s, they were probably still wired, but you know.
So before Honeycutt approaches this old man, how long do you think this old man had this car? Do you think he like bought it like 3 days ago and realized I can't tell the truth anymore? I just can't do it. I have a kid. I'm a lawyer. I'm gonna get back with my wife at the end of the movie. I mean, I don't know. It's like, how long has he had this car?
And
Was
is
he
it
once
haunted, or is it just like cursed? I mean, haunted. I was thinking Christine,
oh,
but
you thought I
like
was gonna start killing people? Like, I'm
or
running over people.
something like that. I mean, because he says a haunted car. I was like, shit, it's Christine. Is this where Stephen King got the idea? No, it's not like haunted. It's like a, I don't know, cursed.
Is the car haunted by the ghost of Nan Adams?
It's haunted
good
by the
question.
ghost of Abraham Lincoln, or no, John Washington, George Washington, and you can't tell a lie. I mean,
But I think back in the day too, like haunted and cursed, like because it was broadcast
Close enough.
TV, you probably didn't say cursed because then that would bring up like weird connotations for folks.
yeah, they was all weird about shit back then.
They absolutely were.
True. Now it's not like that now. Now we got the boys.
Oh yeah.
No,
We got the boys on one end and then we have pearl clutchers on the other.
Could you imagine?
and then we have me in the middle.
Exactly.
If you could
breathe
time,
it
just
on.
to sidetrack for a moment. I know I never do that, but if I could time travel for 30 minutes, I would go back to like the 50s or the 60s, somewhere in there, and take an episode of The Boys, put it on tape or whatever, and then go and insert it. I would break into NBC or something and insert it so it could be telecast to like the greater masses, just to see what the reaction would be to see something like that back then. Oh my! And not just the fact that they would think it was real because it looked so good as comparison.
Maybe,
They think it was some War of the World shit, but
You'd be talking about that on the Twilight Zone because Rod Serling would come up with that.
yeah,
He'd be like, "I took that. That's my story."
yeah.
I'll tell you
Written
this,
by
and
Richard
actually
Matheson.
I ran across it today. So there was a thing from it was January 1st of 1966, and they're talking about, it's a news article about comic book heroes, specifically Spider-Man. And the headline is readers would never recognize today's new comic book heroes. And they describe Spider-Man as Spider-Man is really Peter Parker, who's little more than a punk kid covered in an covering up an inferiority complex that by comparison makes Charlie Brown look like an egomaniac. Bitten by a radioactive spider as a teen, Peter or Spider-Man has acquired the powers that allow him to jump, blah blah blah. But Spider-Man doesn't just run around ferreting out evil for the sake of mankind. He barely knows right from wrong. He uses his superpowers only when the mood strikes him to show off or to quell his own self-doubts. Yeah. But it's funny because you think about like now, it's amazing.
He's like
Right?
the purest
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
it's the same time frame that Batman had a gun at that time too. So
What is it?
yeah,
Detective?
shit was different. Yeah, shit was
Oh
better.
no,
back
he had a
then.
gun like in the 30s. Back
Yeah.
then, at this point, he
Well,
had the
didn't he have a gun in the
Batarangs and all that.
'60s too?
No, absolutely not.
No. This is
But
back
you know,
when the
they were
Detective comic sign.
they actually had a thing where like they made it super family friendly. That's why we got the 66 Batman. But then unfortunately the 66 Batman made everybody think that they were gay. Oh, that might have been before that too, though, honestly.
Or high.
Yeah. That too. Anyway.
But that would like be a whole lot of other issues too, because he wouldn't just be gay because he was Robin was his ward, so pretty
Yeah.
much like his adopted kid, more or less. So he was abusing him too, apparently.
Yeah.
But
it was back in the day, and they wouldn't address the abuse per se.
Yeah, they didn't give a shit about that. Probably deserved it.
Comic books are weird.
Look at what he's wearing.
With those tidy whities,
just couldn't help yourself, those little greeny weenies.
I mean, he had a nice ass. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway,
so with nice asses, no, okay, so we got the Rod Serling discussion. We talked about that. So the car salesman Honeycutt approaches this old man who wants to sell this car, this Model A 1934, 37, or whatever it is. 34. And he literally wants like $30 for it. But Honeycutt, being the guy he is like, I'll give you 15. No, I'm being nice. I'll give you 25, even though he probably give him 30 and stuff like that. And
can I put this in perspective real quick?
Yeah.
This is 1961. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this car's not quite, we're going to say 30 years old, right? So that means the car would be in by comparison, that would essentially be us going nowadays to a used car lot and buying a car from what, 1990?
1992, roughly.
You think you're going to go find a 1992, like in good, I mean, the car looked like it was in decent shape. So a 1992 anything for $25, you ain't gonna find shit for $25, but $25 fucking dollars. And then he's like, I'll give you 15. I was like, $15? I know it was a different time, but holy fuck. Like right now, I was looking, because I've been looking at cars, like older cars, because there's some older cars I like. And I was specifically looking at like a 1993 car at one point. The motherfucker was $16,000. Granted, it was a nicer car, but still $25. Do you know how much that car would be worth now?
I'm just looking.
Like if it was that real car, probably $200,000.
According to so at least by definition of like money then and now, $25 in 1960 would be $250 today.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, he's still getting ripped off. Like you can trade in your car and they're still like, it's still shitty, but you can trade your car for like, like $6,000 or whatever towards another vehicle, and this guy gets $200.
$250.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean
that car is that specific car. I guarantee if you had it in that shape nowadays, paying $15 for it back then, now it's probably like $200,000.
More than likely, yeah. It could be a POS and it would still be, but then the value of a car, like classics, is different too.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh about this episode. The old man's like, I just want to get rid of this shit. Just take the fucking car. I don't want to deal with this hauntedism anymore. I just want to get rid of it. I don't want to talk the truth anymore. I just want to be a guy that, spends time with his kid with the, the claw and the birthday cakes and stuff like that. And,
well, and that's the other thing about this episode. He couldn't lie about it. Like he couldn't lie about the fact of why he wanted to get rid of it. He had to outrightly.
I was gonna say that's the nice thing. Like you don't know that he's telling the truth. Like you don't realize that. Like you don't like. There's no real setup on it. Just outside of this shit's haunted. I think it was possessed by fucking, I don't know, God himself or some shit. It just, I can't tell a lie, and then I'm gonna go and beat myself up in a bathroom. And...
I was like, he didn't go into like a weird trance when he told the truth though. Which that comes up later.
No, that whatever the music is great when he starts telling the truth. It's like all weird and kind of earthly and shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but he sells the car for $25, and this old man is glad to be rid of it. He's glad he can go on with his life. He can now, take a plane trip or something like that without telling them that the plane's gonna crash or some shit. Like all this stuff is like it's leading up to something.
Why would he tell him that the plane was gonna? Why would he get on the plane if he knew it was gonna crash?
Because he's
does
an
it
old
also
man.
tell him the future?
Yeah.
There's some more to this story. I don't know.
Jacob.
Sorry.
He's in the Twilight Zone, man. He knows these things. He's on the same plane as William Shatner, as Captain Picard. He knows about the gremlin outside the plane. Gosh, man. Don't you know anything about the Twilight Zone?
Apparently.
No. Anyways, he's happy to get rid of the car, and the salesman thinks he's made a good deal, and he goes back over to the young couple who are sitting inside the car, and he knocks the bumper off, and like I said earlier, he like ties it up with like whatever he has, like rope or something like that. And they ask him, I think they ask him some questions, and then he starts just going off on a truth tirade about how this car's a lemon, about how many problems it has, and he's like, you know what you should do? You should go find a reputable lot. They'll sell you a good car that's not a lemon. It doesn't have a broken block engine, that type of thing. And it's like at first I'm like, I think I've seen this somewhere before. I'm like, well, yeah, I think this episode ripped off a 1994 movie. I can't remember though.
Jim Carrey.
I know. Yeah, this is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey went back to the past and watched this, this episode went to the future. Anyways,
well, you know what? My conspiracy theory on it is that Jack Carson and Jim Carrey, JC, are the same person.
Number 21? It's a number 21 effect.
Yeah.
Is it 21?
Broken up.
34 or something.
23.
23. Yeah, 23. Number 23.
Yeah, number 23. Triv, we've blown up the Twilight Zone. We've now officially unlocked the secret door of the maze. Is really Jim Carrey is Jack Carson. I knew it all along.
The Twilight Zone has gone from suck to blow.
Gone from suck to blow.
Sir.
Yeah.
The almost awesome stream has gone from suck to blow.
It's always been suck. It stayed there.
Sir, the almost awesome stream has gone from suck to suck.
It's gone. It just stayed at suck.
Oh,
no, it's
sir, the almost
blow.
awesome show has gone and stayed in suck.
No, it's funny too because they'll be like the guy combing the desert, but instead he's coming in the Twilight Zone. He's like, "Have you found anything?" We have found shit.
It's
sir, we found
4.
Nan Adams.
We found all kinds of shit. It's called The Four of Us Are Dying. Trouble with Templeton.
Yeah, why?
Sure, the trouble with Templeton has turned into dum 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 dum. The fever.
So the fever in the Twilight Zone or fever and trouble with Templeton, are they buried with the copies of ET?
They retrieved those.
Yes.
They did a documentary about it.
They also retrieved the Vader or the fever in trouble with Templeton. So
well, yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about them.
These episodes were not known until they digged up the ET burial ground.
So the question is, where were they hiding perchance to dream?
In Jacob's
not in a good
heart.
enough place. They should have done a better fucking job.
We need a Grinch Who Stole Christmas for Chance to Dream for Jacob. Jacob's heart grew 10 times to that day when he grew in love with For Chance to Dream. So let's get back on the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So the young couple walks away. Of course, Honey Nut is
Honey Nut Cheerios has gone from suck to blow.
He's honey nut. He's honey nutting the truth all over the place.
Honey nutted all over the place, people.
Anyway, the whole truth.
I know. Oh, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, eventually.
But no, it's he tells the truth to the young couple. They walk away, and he starts to laugh when he looks at the older car. Because the whole thing is just like, it seems so illogical. But now we are introduced to Herb, which who's Herb played by? Yeah, look this up.
A dude.
Yeah. There's a random guy that works for him, Herb.
Your mom.
Actually, there is no guy Herb in the cast. It's just random guy that comes up and says, "I work for you." But they talk about what's that?
Random guy. That's his credit.
Random guy number 17.
That's right. But Herb, I guess, works for him. I thought he was like his like side manager or whatever, but he starts like talking about the truth. This is when the Selma Hatch in a rubber room comes up, and he decides to call his wife to tell him that he's gonna be working on his inventory, but instead he tells her the truth about him playing poker with the boys. And he says that like 3 different times. He's like, I'm playing poker with the boys. You can hear the squawking on the other side. He's like, you said what? You said what? It's there's a lot of humor in this episode, just with when he starts having to tell the truth. You can't lie, all that good stuff. And Herb hears a lot of this, and it just reacts kind of funnily about it. It's just kind of funny, but he says as long as he owns the car, he has to tell the truth. It's like, for the next 40 to 24 hours, you can't tell a lie, or the next 3 days or whatever. But that's the act break. It's just, it goes from him being a shyster to him being Jim Carrey and the liar, and telling his wife that he's playing poker with the boys, which, sure, cool. 1960 playing poker. I am all for that.
There's worse things he could be doing. Let's be real.
Yeah, no doubt. But he's playing a different kind of poker.
Yeah, maybe he was lying without lying.
Yeah.
Maybe he is playing poker with the boys. I mean, it was very taboo back then, but who knows? We don't judge here at the Fifth Dimension.
No, we don't.
Right.
He was telling truth from a certain point of view.
Yeah, a vagina point of view.
I just like how like he one day a week he plays poker with the boys, and he has to lie to his wife. Like, is his wife the nagging person that you would see in like another Twilight Zone? Like,
I don't think it's like the poker part. I think it's the losing money part while you play poker.
While you play,
because he's losing all their money playing poker, probably.
Well, and to the kind of comedian, like back then, the kind of like, take my wife, please, kind of comedian. That's who Jack Carson was to some extent too. So I think he was like projecting quite a lot of his own kind of schmucky character through this too. Yeah,
well, I was gonna ask you guys. This is when the act break happens. But do you guys feel like that this episode's dark, but it's not like it has more like levity to it than darkness? It felt like an episode that I wouldn't say it's the greatest episode, but it felt like it had like a fun idea to it, a fun kind of drive to it more than anything. Even though it has like a very dark message about being careful what you lie about, especially playing poker with the boys or something.
I really didn't.
Careful what you lie about.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see this as dark in any. I mean, yeah, I suppose you could look for that message. I didn't really see this as dark. Like, if anything, it was so bloody goofy. Everything about it from the second Jack Carson comes on camera, he is like that almost Rodney Dangerfield level of like the puns and all the shit that came out of his mouth the entire time.
It's in the same vein as like The Chaser, where it has darkness to it, but there's more levity. Like, it's about a guy who's basically scamming people out of money for shitty cars. And
but that's such a trope of comedy. Like, how many movies, like, go back to the 80s,
slimy used car dealership.
Yeah, it's such a yeah. I mean, Crazy Isaiah's used car lot. It's such a stereotype and a trope that's used time and time again. I know what you're going. I understand what you're trying to say. I didn't see this as dark though.
No, especially like the musical cue. This is a very goofy sitcom-y episode, in my opinion. Like I said, it reminded me of an episode of Dick Van Dyke, just like in its construction and everything.
This is very much like I would put this on, like, not and like all other comparisons aside, obviously this is its own thing, but I would put this on the same comedy level as something like The Most Unusual Camera.
Yeah,
just as far as the kind of things that it was doing.
Mm-hmm. I would too.
Except the ending. I think the ending is what makes it so strange an episode. It really is. We'll talk about it, but it's just like the episode. But let me ask you guys: were you guys on board at the act break? Were you all about this episode? I mean, I just watched this like a half hour before we started recording, but I felt it had a good pace. I felt it was just enough to get us kind of, going into the second act. But I mean,
I knew not going into it, but once by the time I got to the act break, I knew I was on board with it. I was like, yeah, I'm cool with this. But I knew this is not going to be number one. And this is probably not top 10. But I felt like I was like, I don't want to judge it too soon, but this is going to be kind of like, okay, jovial episode. That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking by the time the act break happened.
it's one of those episodes that if it just kind of popped up on New Year's Day, you watch it. It's not going to offend you. It's not going to be like,
Yeah.
The Fever where you're just like, you throw your remote at the TV screen because you're like, fuck this shit. This episode,
I'm not
I
gonna
think
go
this
looking for it, but if it's on, I'm not gonna turn it off.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what it kind of breaks down to. But Triv, do you have anything more to say at all?
I think with that question in mind, I'd probably seek this out among a lot of them. It's certainly not like a top 10 episode by any stretch, but I would still I would look like, now that I have it in the forefront of my mind and it kind of sits there as like, because I really enjoy the really odd ass episodes. They're kind of my favorites. And I understand that when I go in to judge them, I'm not going to judge them as, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever because blah, 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 even though it probably does deserve to be above the monsters are doing Maple Street.
Ooh.
Oh.
No, kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, I am aware of what it is, but I'm more likely to seek this one out among others because it has that goofy, funny weirdness.
My bad. The guy that works for Honeycutt is named Herb, not Herb.
Herb?
Like
Damn. Yeah,
Like
his name is
Herb,
Herb?
like IRV, like Irv.
Oh, Irving.
Like Irving.
Like Irving.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Irv. Irv. I thought you were saying herb.
I thought his name was
Herb.
Herb.
I was like, how do you
Herb.
spell that?
I thought it was Earn as in ERN. Like Ernie.
Ern.
Apparently
none of us can figure out what the fuck he's saying.
Nope. You know what we are.
He,
you know what we are. We are cement-headed clods.
Mm-hmm. I definitely am.
Yes,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
We don't know, and that's the old rhubarb.
Oh my god, Irv was in one of my favorite animated movies of all time, Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers.
Nice.
Guys, I'm sorry we had to talk about Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers. No, I'm kidding. I love when Honeycutt is just when the episode comes back for the second act. Herb is asking about like a raise or some shit like that, and Honeycutt just goes on this whole like tirade about how he shouldn't give him pay and workers along without ever getting raises and stuff like that. It's
like you'll get a raise when it freezes over in Fiji or something like that, or
yeah.
Or they get snow in Fiji.
And then Herb just punches the hell out of Honeycutt. It's great. I was like,
this hurts me more than you. No, this is gonna hurt you more than me.
And it's funny. I have to, this may not be. I've been joking about Liar Liar. That segment right there just reminded me of when his secretary punches Jim Carrey in that episode because he's like telling her about how he can't afford to give her a raise and shit. Do you remember that when she's like my like I don't know, somebody that I knew robber fell on a knife and sued and won, and Jim Carrey's character goes, that's not right, but I would have gotten more money, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And she punches him. So I wonder if that movie actually takes some like inspiration from this episode.
Very well could have. I mean, look at how
the
the driving episode from A Thing About Machines influenced Christine.
But this is when we're basically, after this is when we get into like the kind of final conclusion of this episode, but we're introduced to honest Luther Grimley, a politician who is apparently honest. Like, yeah, that's not true. There's no politician that's truthful that I've ever seen. And he really wants this car. Even though what's his face, Honeycutt's like, no, this car is haunted. You don't want this car. It has a bad engine block. The tires are ruined. He's like, no, I'll give you, $30-$60 for this car. He's like, but it's not even worth that money. And then he just somehow gets him down to $22.50 for the car. I was like, that type of thing. It's funny because
$7.50.
I'll give you $1.50. It's interesting because this guy has always been scamming people. Now he's like telling this guy this car is not good, but Luther Grimley, he's like, just give the fucking car to me. I just want a car as propagandist, and he finds out that it's haunted and like it's he can't tell a lie and stuff like that. And he's like, okay, so we'll give it to somebody else or something like that. But what do you guys think about like bringing a character in like that? Is in essence like he's a guy that lies to get where he needs to go, and then you have another guy that lies where he needs to get to go, and he's like, give me the fucking car. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think it was obviously Serling was like looking at this and going, okay, and that might have been where the episode started too, but just like the way it goes, I love that cheeky turn. I think because even the way that it goes, like you're expecting this, politician to end up with it, and then things turn again. I don't know. I like the way that it went. I thought it was fun.
How did he get? I missed that too. Well, I guess we're not to the end part. I was trying to figure out because like afterwards, I thought about going back and watching it. I missed something. How it got to him? Did they just show up?
What
the
No,
final?
I think they put in a call.
Oh no, they okay. Well, let me ask you this first. Like they find it. Grimley or Honeycutt has a newspaper, and he's like, he points to the newspaper. Maybe we should give it to this person. And then the guy just shows up because they called. I mean, maybe Grimley knows the guy. I don't know. Like, I don't want to spoil who it is, but
yeah, well, he calls it. Why would that person be? I mean, I guess it kind of just goes to the comedy.
I don't know. Politicians, they know every fucking person. They probably know
that person be buying a used car.
Well, the reason they were so the reason that, without giving too much away, if we're not going to say,
we're going to be there soon enough. We'll just talk about that.
They kind of talk about it. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, go ahead and let's.
Well, no, I'm asking like the whole Grimley, Honeycutt scenes and stuff like that. I mean, they're basically two shysters talking to one another, and one of them has to tell the truth. It makes the scene like kind of funny in a lot of respects because it's so.
Especially once he recognizes that, holy shit, you do have to tell me the truth.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fuck with you.
Right.
I would also like to say, and this is like one of those random little touches, and I love. Actually, there are two. So the Serling just does those little things so well. Like there's a couple cars on the lot that are super covered with dust. They've been sitting there for so long. It was kind of a neat little touch, and then. He has a cigar at the beginning, and then he goes to talk to the young couple. He puts a cigar down because, there's that thing about smoking, like you appear uncouth if you have a cigar. But then when it comes to like the shystery politician, he's going to meet him, and then he goes back to get the cigar because, they're two guys at the same trade.
It's like the episode where the guy goes at his like own personal hell. I think he always has a cigar in his mouth. It's almost like Rod Serling has this trope of like if you're not a very savory character, you have to have a cigar because apparently like the 60s, that's the way it makes it look.
But that's kind of how they rolled. Like even going back, like if you did that, like more proper people did cigarettes, and like those people did cigars.
Yeah,
people of
anybody could be smoking, but if you smoke a cigar, unless it's a big fat Cuban and you're like in a suit and you're like,
and I think it's a status thing too, like
if you've got the short and stubby one that's like you're talking with it like this out of your mouth, and you're like, then you're a shitbag.
Yeah, or a politician apparently.
That's metal. That hurt my teeth.
Ouch. Are your teeth okay? Do they need therapy?
No, they'll be good.
Okay.
They need massage therapy.
Yeah. Get some of those vibrating anal beads, huh?
Oh no. Used?
But no, it's I just love the chemistry between the two characters. It feels good in a place like this, when you walk into a theater. But let's get to the whole shebang, the big deal, the Twilight Zone twist moment, because I know we want to talk about it. So either Honeycutt or Grimley has a newspaper, and they come up with this like crazy idea to like they're like pointing at the newspaper and they're like, oh yeah, we should give the car to this guy and sell it to him. And like Jacob says, like, why would this guy even show up at a used car sales lot in the middle of like bumfuck nowhere?
And real quick before you say anything more, I just have to say, so they got the cigars in the sides of their faces, and they pull an A-team and they say, I love it when a plan comes together
in a place like this. It's Hannibal from A-Team.
Yep, exactly. Anyway, I apologize. I just had to get that out because I just got thinking there about the cigars. Right. Yeah, anyway.
But no, we don't see who they're selling the car to. The guy's like, Mr. Big from Wayne's World. He's just like there in a car, and
they're selling it to like his assistant or something.
Yeah.
Well, they're selling it to him.
Translator.
I guess it had to be sold to him.
Well,
like it had to be. which I didn't get. Why couldn't it be sold to the other guy?
Because
Well, that's the question.
he's the one that paid for, like, since he's the one that technically passed over the money, he would be the one, like, if he signed
rule book with this
so
thing.
if he signed for it, it would automatically be under the translator, would be under his name, not the other guy.
I just don't understand why this person would be so interested in this car. Like, I
will explain at least the way I understand it, if you want me to. But do you want to explain who it is?
Yeah.
Question
let me...
before you go there: if someone owns this car and at some point they die before they can sell it, so it's never really sold, and then somebody else just takes possession of it, they don't buy it.
No,
does that mean that the curse is broken?
No, this isn't It Follows situation. If the person dies, the car just reverts back to the other person.
Oh.
Is it that, or is it the fact that whoever has their name on whoever signs for it? So that
he
person
said you had to pay for it, I think, didn't you?
Oh, I don't know, I thought so, but maybe it was. I think it was more the person that signs on it. No, I'm sorry, it's not paid for. It's the person that signs, because specifically the guy said, "Hey, I can sign for such and so. I'm authorized," and he's like, "No, it has to be the other guy." So it's a signing thing.
What if it's like this person's? I would say, what if the person dies and the person's daughter takes over, and she's in the middle of having sex, and the guy's like, "Oh man, that was so good." She's like, "I've had better."
Well, that's. I mean, what can you do?
You're doing what you can with what you're working with.
Yep, exactly. You pull out the wireless anal beads.
I appreciate you trying. Just don't follow me to the bathroom afterwards. I got something to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So the person buys the car. I don't know, weird thing, and then drives off. And then this is when the twist happens. They talk about that Jack Kennedy is going to be nominated president, which is, I guess, apparently the first time they've ever mentioned a president, because he was sworn in a few days after this episode.
Yep.
No, he was sworn in the day that this episode aired.
Yeah, right. And the car they sold it to, who they sold it to is no other than Soviet leader Nikita Kushtev. Can you someone pronounce this for me?
Nikita Kushtev.
Kushtev, thank you. Summarizing that like every Tatalian say Soviet
totalitarian.
I can't talk tonight. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Soviet Union owes its existence to tissue of lies. Basically, Nikita Kushtev was blacklisted during Hollywood.
The guy that played him was blacklisted.
I thought it was him.
No, according to the trivia, it was the guy that played him was a dude called Lee Sabinson, who played Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. Khrushchev. Now I can't say Khrushchev.
I'm sure he was
blacklisted during the Hollywood Red Scare era. So whatever, I'm trying to think of, that would have been the 50s. So,
but either way, yeah, that whole fucking blacklisting bullshit was insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The guy playing a character gets blacklisted. It's so much bullshit.
No, this was the Soviet thing, or the blacklist, or for God's sake, the Red Scare thing was the 50s.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, the McCarthyism, right?
That was the 50s. Yeah.
Anyways, Hollywood's fucked up system. Anyways,
but yeah.
If you don't know who Nikita Kushtev is, he's a guy that was very much not a good person, a very terrible person actually. That supported a lot of Joseph Stalin's stuff. That it was nasty. So I like the idea of making him like tell the truth, because he was just a very terrible individual. But we have to talk about this. Like, it's such a weird payoff to an episode that's about a guy who's telling the truth and his used cars. I mean, it's not like it's like the worst payoff in the world, but it kind of soured me a little bit. It's like, this is it feels like
it's not timeless.
Yeah, it feels like Rod Serling had something to say. Like, he literally had something to say in this episode. I was like, fuck Nikita Khrushchev.
Well, see, this was the episode. I think this episode was produced for that because it's CBS, right? For that like 1 week that Disney bought CBS and then sold them back and let them go. So this was under Disney's rule. You know, they just putting their stuff out there, just, putting their messages in and stuff. Disney going Disney. Any fucking opportunity I got to talk shit about them.
Yeah, I mean, Disney back in that time was doing like Song of the South, so you might be right.
That was the 30s, man.
As long as
Close enough. Close enough. Is when the car was made. I think Soul in the South was
Yeah.
in the 30s, wasn't
No, it doesn't go back that far. The first
no,
Disney
1946. Sorry.
Yeah, Disney's first like animated thing was 1938 or 32 with no with
Steamboat Willie.
shit. Well, that was
No,
28.
Steamboat
That
Willie
was
wasn't the first
22 because they're celebrating 100
No,
years.
The first
Snow White
Disney
came out in
cartoon.
30s.
Yeah, the first Disney anything was Steamboat Willie.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when you look back at like we were talking about Pinocchio, like how racist parts of Pinocchio are. Yeah, so I could see Disney buying CBS for like a week during this episode premiere.
Well, and okay, so I looked up Nikita Khrushchev highlights. He ordered the withdrawal of missiles from Cuba, ending the Cuban Missile Crisis in 60. So that would have been that was probably would have been around the time that this was written. He also stunned the communist world with his denunciation of Stalin's crimes and embarked on a policy of de-Stalinization with his key ally, some random guy. He sponsored the early Soviet space program and enactment of relatively liberal
Sputnik.
reforms in domestic policy. So some of the like having to tell the truth thing, I don't know if that relates to that or not. It's hard to say, but he was
that
obviously
prior to
Yeah,
this
but-
episode? Was that prior to this episode? Well,
No,
they don't
that
really
would have
say when
been-
the episode takes place, so it could have
Well,
been. A few
I mean,
years back.
it's post 54 because Honeycutt was saying that those pre 54 cars are pieces of shit, or no,
Yeah.
post 54 cars are pieces of shit. So I mean,
Well,
Khrushchev was in there through 64, so it could have taken place any time during that time.
well, at one point he was very much for Stalin, but as things do in politics, he definitely had a change of heart, I guess, a little bit through.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take back the fact of what he did before.
No,
So,
absolutely
yeah,
not.
yeah.
He was still a total bastard. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. It's like people are multifaceted, in most cases.
Right, but I do think that's like what you were saying. That is kind of
So-
funny. Like,
So are companies like Disney.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. Do you want a pair of Disney ears?
Oh no, no, thank you.
Well, and to answer your question, why he wanted that car. So he wanted to take that car back to, and however you want to state it, but they said in the episode that he wanted to take that car back to where he was from and show like his people that that's what Americans drive. So they were trying to say that Americans are behind, well, either behind or way ahead. I'm not sure which, depending upon how you see that Model A.
Probably behind because it's old ass fucking car.
Yeah, but if you're talking about people that are still very rural in nature, you could see that and go, wow, look at these capitalist pigs, or something like that,
Yeah, but that was kind of like in the time when Russia was trying to like show its dominance and how we're a strong Russian country. You're a stupid,
That's
weak
true.
American.
That is very
Everything
true.
we do is bigger and better.
But their cars at that point, at least according to some of the shows that I've watched, like
What
just
cars?
the cars. Yeah, exactly.
Name a Russian automotive company.
Well, there are actually.
Oh, there are.
Top Gear did an episode on Soviet era cars versus
Were
American
they
era
made
cars.
there or were they
Yeah.
bought?
Well, they were
Oh.
reskinned, a lot of them, so they like took them. Like there was one Russian car that had a removable. So you took out the car, like you moved back the carpet, and then you took out this piece in the bottom of the car, and you could use it as a fishing shanty out on the ice, so you could stay in your car and still fish.
So were they taking like American and European cars where the car companies are, especially America, and like just reskinning them?
They were reskinning them, or they would use like chassis or things like that from them.
Yes, I have
you don't
over
drive
here
car drive.
Ford
you.
Locust. No, not the Focus. It's a Locust. Hatchback. Hot hatch. Ford Locust RS.
There was another one that was essentially like he took a mallet to it. He was like sitting there pounding on it. The car was like relatively small, but it was super heavy because they didn't have like not that steel is streamlined, but the thinner stuff for the car. But it was like
Made of
super
iron.
thick. Yeah, it was like super thick. It was like a tank, but not
0
in a
to
good
60
way.
in like 20 minutes.
Basically, yeah.
It's
So
a
it was
heavy-ass fucking iron car.
fascinating. because we don't get that over here, but it was really fascinating.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Russian
But
car.
no, I mean, it's just a weird ending. I don't even know how to. It's like I know what he's going for. I know what he's trying to say. Like you said, Trev. I think you said this about the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis or whatever, close to it, and the fact that like Nikita Khrushchev at that point started acting like a actual civil human being.
It's like I don't want to say it doesn't fit, but it doesn't fit.
Well,
yeah,
and
it's like weird.
And that was
And
the
it's
one
very
thing
topical.
that totally. And that was the one thing that the companion's guide said was it didn't feel like a Twilight Zone episode.
Like, did you guys before you look? Did you know who it did up until that point? Did you know who that was prior to reading it?
Nikita Kushtev?
I knew.
Like,
who
no,
he
I'm saying, did you know
was.
from on the show when it showed? Did it say his name?
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah.
At the very end,
Yeah.
It was in the paper.
calls. Well, it was in the paper, but he also called. Like he called up. You don't know who it is. He's like, yeah, I'd like to talk to JFK about Nikita Khrushchev.
Oh, I didn't hear him say the name. I saw it said it in the paper, so I guess there is that. So
yeah,
I was just saying, I mean, from most people, I don't think would pick up on. I mean, I picked up on basically, this is some Russian leader, and it was in the paper though too. Okay,
he's like, I want to talk to my friend, the president, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, he said, I want to talk to JFK. It's like, can you do that? Can you just call and say, operator, put me through to the president? Shit.
I mean, back in the day, they didn't even have like gates up on the White House, didn't they? Like
back in the 1800s, you could actually walk up like to the White House at any time of day and air grievances with the president. Back in like around the era.
1961.
Was it back in the day?
Was the 1800s?
Isn't that why Van Buren? Is it Van Buren that got in all the fights, or John Adams, or who was it? Buchanan that like just was
all
like
of them.
boxing people.
It was probably Buchanan. That sounds about right.
It's a better time. That's how we settled our disputes.
Yeah. No, like somebody walks up.
Uwe Boll came from that time, that era. We have problem. Awesome. We box.
So that concludes the episode. Apparently, Nikita Khrushchev is going to be, talking the truth now. Jack Kennedy is going to be, dealing with the missile crisis, and we sold a car.
Yeah,
Nikita sold a car. That's the end of the episode. You guys, $25 from Khrushchev. Okay, so I have to ask. The episode's weird. It's a weird way to end out the episode, but there's 4 arms from Triv, so she's obviously giving her seal of trip approval. What do you guys think of? What do you guys think of the episode? Let me ask Spike next question. What do you think of the episode? Really, Spike has lost his balls. I forgot to mention this. Herb is not getting a raise, and that it would be easier to pour hot butter in a wildcat's ear.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. With that said, no. In all honesty, like we talked about this weird ending, but what do you guys think of the actual episode? Like, what do you think of the episodes in whole totalitarian style?
I think you asked that question like 10 minutes ago.
Well, that's before Jeff decided he wanted to leave.
No, I didn't start it. I was waiting for Triv to talk, and then something else came up.
Yeah, several things. Oh my god. I like this episode. It's one that even though I kind of forgot like the ending of it, and I think for the time it was a nice little fuck you from Serling to like, Nikita Khrushchev and whatnot. And it's probably something that caught people incredibly off guard at the time. But I know that looking at it from this point, half the people that have watched it in the past 30 years probably had to go, who the ever-loving fucking cunting whatever else is Nikita Khrushchev?
Back then, there was like the goddamn patriot, Mr. Serling. Yep. Not that guy, Rod Serling.
Well, you see that I see that
the Russian guy was this is Rod Serling, patriot.
Yes, well, and I can see that Jeff is saluting as well. So,
Jeff, cover that up, Jesus Christ! They can see you. Not in public.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to get you some Visine.
I think I need Visine. I've been rubbing my eye all night.
That's not good.
We'll get some Ben Stein in there with some Visine.
Oof.
Tryon.
Yeah, in my honest opinion of this episode, if it weren't for that ending, I would have ranked it higher. That's kind of where I'll leave it. It just that ending is just it literally feels like Rod Serling, like Trivia just said, or yeah, Rod Serling was like, fuck this guy. We're putting him in a Twilight Zone episode to buy a 1934 Model A for car. It's like, there's no way in hell this dude would ever buy from a used car lot. He would like find some way of building his own Model A, like the Model Z or something like that, as Jacob alluded to earlier with the renaming of stuff. But
I tell you, I will appreciate the fact that like the reasoning that Serling pulled for that to try and like, oh, look at this shitty car Americans drive. Like that whole sense of reasoning I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it seems like yeah, and it feels like something that could genuinely happen, so they can like go, look at this crappy car Americans drive. What a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
Clearly the guy who was buying it was named Alcoholic.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
His name was Alcoholic?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like really?
No.
Fuck you.
Oh, I think you knew I was joking. Oh no. Yeah, definitely no.
I would love it. This episode just went up a point for me. Okay, so I stand true to what I thought of the act break, that it's not the best episode ever, but it's not the worst either. It's very middle of the road. It's enjoyable. It's just kind of a palate cleansing, goofy, good time, enjoyable episode. Very liar-esque. I was down with that. Once I realized that's what it was, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be blown away by this one, but I'm going to have a good time. Let's just have a good time. And I was having a good time with it. That ending was just out of place. I mean, they made it work. It's not awful, but it dates the episode. It dates it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very unlike the Twilight Zone usually was. It's very topical for the time, so it doesn't age as well. I mean, that's not to say, because like you guys said, and I think I mentioned, a lot of people are not going to know who that is offhand. I mean, now 60 years later, they're just not going to know who that guy is.
Yeah.
A lot of people, so it's going to be lost to them. I mean, they might be able to pick out, oh, he's some bad dictator-esque type character, but it's not going to hold the same weight, and that's why dating things like that is a problem. So I wish they had the ending also, like, it just took this weird, like you said, it just took this weird political turn, like real world political turn, where it was kind of still kind of tongue in cheek, haha, wink, wink, but it was like, whoa, you just got kind of real, and the rest of the episode was kind of like Benny Hill, and it's like, then to go that way and have like it take a stance, it's like, oh, okay. It was kind of a little jarring. Once again, wasn't awful. The ending was not terrible, but it did actually, for me, it took away from it a little bit. And I think, Nick, you said, and I agree, it probably would have, the episode would have probably been elevated a bit more if they had just had some other type of episode or other type of ending.
Yeah, I mean,
like just a generic politician or something,
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
And that's the one thing that is true. I mean, that is one thing that Serling does very well is, the stereotypes, despite the 60-year difference, they do translate well to today, because by and large people don't change in that respect. So I do get it, and it makes a lot of sense.
The sentiment could have been the same.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they put a real world person in there, and like, and it just dates it, and it just makes it a little bit too real, especially when you're dealing with something kind of, the episode overall is a bit goofy, which is fine, but then you throw that in there in the end, it's like, oh well, that's okay, let's do it.
I get you.
With that said, let's do the closing narration. Now that we agree this is a weird episode,
yes.
Nobody likes
it.
What? Fuck you.
Oh, hey.
I'm kidding.
I enjoyed it. Couldn't happen, you say? Far-fetched? Way out. Tilt? Off center. Possible. But the next time you buy an automobile, if it happens to look as if it had just gone through the Battle of the Marne, and the seller is ready to throw into the bargain one of his arms, and be particularly careful in explaining to the boss about your grandmother's funeral when you are actually at Chavez Ravine watching the Dodgers. Pause. What?
I don't know.
Oh, he's
this
lying.
whole
He's lying about. Okay, so he's saying, like, you know how the old trope about, like, oh well, I was at my grandmother's funeral when actually you're
Oh, okay. I get
watching
it
a
now.
baseball
Right.
game, like
I
the
get it, I
Ferris
get it.
Bueller effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what that is.
sometimes when you're like performing, you don't take in what you're reading.
That's
This is a
okay.
performance. This
That's-
is a professional performance here. It'll be a fact that you are the proud possessor of an instrument of the truth, manufactured and distributed by an exclusive dealer in the Twilight Zone.
That's an amazing read.
yeah. At first, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, is he just scrambling words together? And then Trev made it all feel better.
I'm
So,
good with words. What can I
Put the
say?
Band-Aid on. But yeah, it makes the episode play out. Do not lie to people, because next time you'll be selling a car to Nikita Kushtev. So
Yep.
yeah.
Woohoo.
Oh yeah.
So,
Bow,
all
bow.
right. So
Got
with
that
that said, let's head into the last known thing of the fifth dimension, which is the Twilight Zone list. The greatest list since sliced bread and apparently below titties. Yeah. So
Below titties.
where are we putting this episode? I don't even know where to start. Like,
Yeah,
is this
let me
a
look at the
top
list.
20 episode? Is this a below 20 episode? Is this, Triv's favorite episode? Like, I don't know.
I mean, so I said earlier that it was sort of in the same realm as Most Unusual Camera. I don't think it should go above that. Not that
14.
helps, but no.
Wait, what?
No, I'm not going to give you have next week. No, I'm not giving it to you. No.
Is this better?
No.
Is this better than A Night of the Meek?
Oh, definitely.
Is better than Passage for Trumpet?
Yes.
Ah.
Wait, Pastor, that's the one with the angel who looked like a devil.
No, that's the one
Or
where
the drunk
the
guy.
guy gives up his trumpet and like
Yeah,
part
Yeah,
of his
it
spirit
has
is
Abraham
his
Lincoln
trumpet.
in it, I think.
Yes.
No, does it? Oh, it does. You're right.
Sorry,
No,
Jack.
it's
We
Archangel.
took-
It's Archangel guy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Gabriel.
The
Gabriel.
angel shows up and he looks like, but he's dressed like a devil, like a
Yeah,
Yeah.
back there is the one with Abraham Lincoln.
yeah.
Um,
Well, no, this guy looked like Abraham Lincoln.
Oh yeah, you're right.
yeah, actually, it could have been the same guy. Oh, actually, Abraham
Possibly.
Lincoln wasn't in the episode. Never mind.
No, it's not.
Is this better? Is this better than What You Need?
No, not really.
No. What
Is
you
it-
need is better. Is it better than Perchance to Dream? Yes. Yes, it is. But
is it
Perchance to
better?
Dream is
So
unfairly too high on the list. Moving on. We're not going to talk
So
about
this
that.
episode's better than
I'll bring it
Passage
up.
for Trumpet, but not as good as What You Need.
I would say. Like,
Is
I
it
think it's
better-
better than Back There.
Back there, there's
What
so
number are
much
we at? I
room.
don't even know.
Baby
We're
birds and
2021.
flowers bloom.
Okay.
Where you go, I will go to. Up there,
Back There, that's the one we
up
watched last
where the
week.
birds-
I
Yeah.
liked Back There.
It was good. It just, I guess, like I say, the
it has
goofy
some
shit.
Weird, yeah,
Yeah.
I think the payoff in that was a lot better than this, to be fairly honest.
it was, but they
Like-
kept on with the payoffs. It's like, oh, there's the pay. Oh, there's another pay. Oh, it's like the Return of the King. They kept on just having a bunch of endings, but those endings were better.
The show was half payoff.
Yeah.
I actually think this episode's
Um,
not as good as the After Hours, but that's just me.
Where is
Well,
After Hours?
That's
Oh,
the
23.
antique shop, right? The genie.
No, that was the mannequin that kept leaving.
Yeah.
Didn't realize she was
Oh,
mannequin.
The inspiration for Mannequin 2 on the move.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And half of the presidents in the past 50 years.
mhm. I'm-
If I could grow wings, I would do anything.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
that
take
whole area
you
right
with
there.
me.
I don't think it's as good as what you need, but as far as like Back There, Passage for Trumpet, and After Hours, it's better than Execution. Execution got real sloppy in the end.
Dick to
Right there,
phone.
20. It does have the dictaphone. This one was more about like quality or quantity than quality when it came to its lexicon. It did
True.
give us quite a few. And we've been a bit starved for them, so I do appreciate that of it. But dictaphone is just a solid old but gold. But I'd say 21, 22, 23. I'd be happy with anywhere in there.
I
or
can go with
14.
that.
14, 21, 22, 23. Anywhere in there. That area.
Jacob, you have next week, sir. You will have next week.
I need that it needs to. We're gonna have. I am going to work in a way where we re-review that fucking episode some way, somehow.
If we re-review that episode, Alex is coming on and she's going to ream your ass.
I can
if we
always
review
say that those
episode,
first
we had to review the last 11 episodes before that.
except for the 8th one, because I was there for that. But like, yeah, there's 10 episodes I was not here for. And look, look what the fuck you guys do when I wasn't here. Can't take you nowhere. Can't take you nowhere.
You're not the first person to say that to me.
This just insanity, pure insanity.
It's terrible.
Going on.
It's just
It was
terrible. Terrible.
But Triv,
terrible.
for you, they literally can't take you anywhere because all there is corn.
I could
Let's say
travel
they-
by corn. You know this.
I'm gonna say the same thing about Jacob. There's literally nothing but chicken coops.
Look, I want 2 chicken coops.
Oh, you got 2 now? Wow.
Well, I had like a smaller one, and then I got a bigger one.
Huh?
And
Cool.
the bigger one is the one I was putting together and building with a big run. But I've got a little chicken coop. That's where we're going to keep the new babies. And
Aw.
when they get bigger, we'll put them in them with it, because you can't put the babies with the big ones because they'll peck them to death.
Right. That
Those
makes
chickens
sense.
are fucking stupid.
Yes, they are very stupid.
They're dumb as shit.
Yes, they are.
That's why you eat them. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm in the same boat.
Okay, so here, let me ask you this: does this episode have a better ending than A Passage for Trumpet?
I mean,
I
Passage for
say no.
Trumpet
That's
had that
unfair.
really, yeah.
The ending
Passage
of
for
the whole
Trumpet was
episode.
so like heartfelt, and this was goofy. You don't like they're
Well, this
kind
one
of
also
polar ends.
that's a bit unfair because like the ending was like the catch here for all of us. The ending was the part we were like, "Hey, yeah, the episode was pretty good," but that ending, it's just that was where we all like most of our grievances were with the ending.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
I
it's
could
like,
see
I hate
the
to judge the whole
ending as
episode on the
such,
ending.
but it also doesn't. We have to judge it from 2022, and it definitely doesn't age based on that.
No, very milky.
Yeah,
Very milky.
like it provides an interesting like look back at where things were at that moment, because things were tense. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But
Twilight Zone didn't
2020
do that though, man.
no, I know
That's
it.
what made it timeless. That's the thing that stood out for me. Well, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what else. to say.
I think After Hours has a better overall payoff to me.
It's a thimble. It's a good thimble. There's no doubt.
Yeah, but they're mannequins, and as Jacob said, they influenced Mannequin 2 on the move.
I'm not saying that it wasn't
There's
good. I mean, this
Hollywood's
one
in it.
This one had Liar Liar.
Did
Son of a
influence.
bitch.
So we
That's
gotta
true.
put Liar Liar up against Mannequin and Mannequin 2 on the move. I mean,
I mean,
Chrissy
we're
Mannequin and
Why
Mannequin
not
2
Kim
has
Cattrall?
Hollywood in it.
it
And
did.
Kim Cattrall.
Yes.
And Hollywood.
yes.
And Hollywood wore them crazy glasses.
yes.
I mean, what did Liar Liar have? Had some old lady and Jim Carrey.
It had Jim Carrey spitting and going, "Ah, come on!"
Yeah.
Which is actually a really solid gif. Yeah. I do like this better than Passage for Trumpet, but I feel like I'm biased because like these episodes are kind of my jam. So I mean, anywhere I leave it up to you guys. 22, 23 is kind of where I could see.
I like
it.
it
Number
better than
15 is
Passage
what
for
you're
Trumpet.
saying.
Overall.
What?
What?
So
Number
I liked
15.
it better than Passage for Trumpet overall.
All right, then. So we make this 22.
What, 14?
No, 22.
Okay, 14.
So we want to put
No,
this above.
Yeah, 21 to 22. I'm fine. You guys judge.
I said my
I'm not
piece.
saying words.
Well, I mean, clearly it's not going above the whole what you need. So we'll just
No.
as Jacob lost his shoes in that episode.
Yeah.
Nan Adams, is that you? Ah!
Wilhelm
That's great.
screaming everything.
Wilhelm scream, yeah.
That was excellent.
So yeah, I guess we'll put it there. As I change the numbers in my documents.
Back there.
Number 22. I was just gonna leave it secret until you watch the episode. So yeah. So with that said, new number 22 is gonna be the whole truth and nothing but the gremlin truth.
Truth,
Yeah.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
Gremlin.
So help you
Nikita
God.
Kushtev episode. Um
Dedicated to the
and-
memory of Nikita Kushtev.
Exactly. And so with that said, new number 1 is still Eye of the Beholder. New number 50. 50, guys.
Wow.
50. Number 50.
A third of the way, almost a third of the way there.
Pity.
Yeah. The Trouble with Templeton.
Yeah.
And with that said, we are there, guys. We are the new number 51 episode of the Twilight Zone.
Woohoo.
And what is that episode, Jacob? No, Jacob doesn't get to say because he knows it'll be number 51 at the end of next week.
By 51, you mean like 51 being the best one.
The list is reversed. Jacob just reversed the list to make Trouble Templeton number 2.
Ew,
but if you've been following us since Jacob has been on our podcast, this has now become an infamous episode to lead up to, and Jacob is very much, even though he says he hasn't watched it in 20 years, he very much believes this is like the greatest episode of Twilight Zone, which it's a good episode. I'm not going to take that from you, but it of course is actually pretty famous for its own right. It's season 2, episode 15, which is the Invaders.
That's
which stars...
crazy that you said it's famous though, because
it is
over the years,
it is famous. Yeah.
Is that a more recent thing, like in say the past 10 years? Because I swear
when it is to me.
I had like time talking to people like back in the day when I was like all about the Twilight Zone, like like late 90s, early 2000s. I would talk to people about this episode, and everybody always looked at me with like a blank stare, like they had no idea what I was talking about. Because I would go around like preaching the gospel of this episode. It's like, oh, it's so awesome, it's so cool, and people are just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What? The what? People that even do Twilight, and they're like, I don't remember that one. So I'm like, damn, why does nobody remember this awesome episode? So then, like you recently been saying, oh, it's really popular. I'm like, has it always been that way? And I just know a bunch of dumbasses, or is it like
no, like
probably that too?
No joke.
I mean...
We'll talk about this next week, but no joke. When you started mentioning the Invaders, all of a sudden it came out of the woodwork. Like you opened up a Pandora's box of fans of the Invaders. Like it was like locked with the Hellraiser cube or whatever. It just
nice.
Yeah. No,
full transparency. Also, when you first asked me to come on the show, and you're like, which one do you want to do? I just went through looking at the names, and I misjudged how bad my memory is on the Twilight Zone. And I was going through, and I saw The Lonely. I thought The Lonely was the Invaders. But I was like, oh yeah, The Lonely. I love that one. Let's do that one. And then I started watching it, and I was like, wait, this is wrong one. I watched it anyway though, but I was like, fuck.
No,
that was the one with the old lady in the cabin.
The best part is if you had picked a couple episodes later, we would be having a different discussion about Perchance a Dream.
Absolutely.
That's the
would
best
not
part.
be the running joke that it is.
I don't know if I had been on that episode and we placed it anywhere near where you guys placed it.
Never been on
when
the
you
podcast
called me
again.
later and said, "Hey man, you want to come be a permanent member?" Yeah, I think I got shit to do.
I think I figured out the reason why Jake likes the Invaders, because the main person in it is Agnes Moorehead.
Ooh, I like it even more now.
Yeah.
Ironically, who is an Oscar winner and started as one of the main principal cast of I Dream of Jeannie.
That's right. She was the mom.
Yeah, and Bewitched. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And has some controversies behind her, but we'll talk about that. Anyways, it's directed by Douglas Hayes, written by Richard Matheson. Stars pretty much only Agnes Moorehead as woman. She has no name, just as woman. She's the only character outside of a little tiny invader. We've been joking about this episode for a long time, but to be fairly honest, the last great episode we truly had was Nick of Time, which was like episode 7, so about 2 months ago. So I'm actually looking forward to talk about a great episode with the
What about Eye of the Beholder?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, Eye of the Beholder.
That was before. That was episode 6. Nick of Time was the last. Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, with that said, we'll look forward to the Invaders next week, which should be a spirited discussion. So with that said, we're gonna head out. That is our talk of season 2, episode 14, The Whole Truth and Nothing But the Gremlin Truth. Triv, Jacob, it's always fun to talk to you guys. Yes. And talk to Spike. It is. It's great.
Like I just talked to you.
I cry every time we quit. Yeah. I know. Like I said, I see you more than I see my own cat, that time. Exactly. So Trev, when you're not hurling or when you're not staring at the camera going as Wayne leaves, where can they find your content?
You can
I was looking at something on this screen from the episode. I was reading something from the closing and I heard and I look over here where you guys are and I just see Nick going
you can find Jesus. You can find me here on YouTube at Trivial Theater. I do random, obscure, straight up bad movies. I promise more content is coming, just not at this very moment. Anyway, and you can also find me on Twitter at Trivial Theater. So check me out.
Trivial.
Trivial.
So Jacob,
Our theaters like that after I've come there. It's trivial.
Jacob. So you're the
Yes.
Sam Nikita of this world. So
Woo! Launch the nukes.
tell us about your channel. I don't know if you knew what I was doing.
Your channel. Yeah, I need to type something up so I can read it. Trivia is much better than this than I am.
Wait for the video you keep saying you're going to put together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a channel.
You're going to be wearing the same shirt every episode in that
Yeah.
video.
I have a channel and I do videos and I have a show. Yeah, check out my channel, Jacob Anders at Jacob Anders Reviews. That's the name of it. Over on YouTube. That's where I release movie reviews and stuff. And I also have a Tweakly, twice a week show where Nick is on almost every time as well. And we talk about movies and entertainment and some other things, just entertainment news and good bits. We do some reviews over there too. We review some old obscure movies like Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter, and even new movies, and talk about like things like Clerks, which we did today, and just a wealth, a birth of subjects and content over there. Check it out. I also put out smaller videos based on that throughout the week, so come and check all those out. Hit the like, poke the subscribe, caress the join button, touch yourself while you're at it. And I'm on Twitter.
That's
Peace
the
out,
most
bitches.
involved. That's the most involved I heard Jacob be in quite a while. So definitely caress those DMs if you need to.
The funny thing is, I've been told this my whole life. On here, it's hard. I got this thing. I'm a very animated person in real life. Like I talk with my hands a lot. Like when you saw my other videos when I had the mic like up here, there's
So
nothing
Bob Dylan,
obstructing
he's
me.
like,
Interpretive dance while I talk. Like that is like that part of me doing reviews that's just me. I'm very like I talk with these. So
You're doing the what is it, the Numa dance constantly.
yeah. So like when I have to sit here and I can't really move as much, I feel kind of handicapped. So I'm kind of like I do that a lot more. When I'm able to talk with my whole voice, I'm much better that way.
And so for myself, I am at Movie Emporium. I am on the Twitters at Movie Emporium. I do videos sometimes. I go on other people's channels and do videos sometimes. I'm kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But you know where I'm at a lot of times? On Anchor and Amazon and iTunes and Google Play.
Oh my God.
Anal Bead Broadcast.
Keep going.
And, that type of thing. So
we're also on Uranus.
That too. So with that said, I'm going to head out. These two are going to head out. And for myself, Jacob and Triv, we'll see you next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, mofos.
Two fly. Yeah. Two ply.
Don't even that 3-ply shit. Or 1-ply.
I was gonna say you want the 3-ply unless you're in the middle of the freaking country and then your pipes can't take it.
Don't give me none of that 1-ply John Wayne toilet paper. It's rough and tough and don't take shit off nobody. Nick has left the building.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say it was a cactus.